Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And once again, I'm here to offer a new addition to my ever-growing list of Jack's comic gems. But before I start talking about this particular comic, I have an important but necessary statement to make. Comics can be fun. I know, what a concept, right? Now, I promise I'm not being facetious. Of course, comics can be fun. There are plenty of fun, lighthearted comics that kids and adults alike can enjoy. They're not hard to find and have always been a big part of the comic book zeitgeist. But it's still worth saying because in recent years, it seems like comics that stand out have to be overly serious. They have to be big and bold, daring to revolutionize or redefine everything we think we know about a particular character or concept. And sure, those comics can be great. Some even become iconic and memorable in their own right. And sure, some do crash and burn spectacularly, but that's neither here nor there. My point is, there's always room for comics that are just overtly fun. They don't try to reinvent anything. They don't even try to take characters or concepts in a new direction. They just go out of their way to be fun and entertaining to the utmost. That's basically the premise of X-Terminators, a 5-issue miniseries by Leah Williams and Carlos Gomez. And if ever there was a series that perfectly embodied how fun comics could be, it's this one. If you're looking for something serious, like some elaborate deconstruction or reinvention of superheroes and superhero media, this comic isn't for you. And if you're looking for an X-Men comic that furthers a complex metaphor surrounding humans, mutants, and bigotry, this book also isn't for you. There are plenty of other X-Men comics that deal with that sort of thing. X-Terminators is a very specific kind of comic. It's also not just an X-Men comic or a general superhero comic. It's a comic that basically tells the story of what happened when Allison Dazzler Blair broke up with her boyfriend Alex, who just happens to be a vampire. I know it may sound like a generic plot from a bad CW show, but I promise it's a plot that gets crazier, sexier, and more bombastic with each twist and turn. At no point does it ever try to be serious, complex, or elaborate. It just starts with Dazzler being pissed off and vindictive, and it goes from there. As a result, Dazzler teams up with Jubilee and Tabitha Boom Boom Smith, two young X-women who eagerly join in the fun, and they later cross paths with Laura Kinney. And while she's definitely not one to get cute or curtsy, she embraces the spirit as well. Together, they hatch a plan to get back at Alex. But in doing so, they find out that he's a lot more than a subpar boyfriend. Being a vampire, and a rebellious one at that, he's got bigger and bolder plans. But they have less to do with taking over the world on behalf of vampire nations, and more to do with hooking up and manipulating beautiful women. Even by vampire standards, Alex is a massive douchebag. But he's also a douchebag with connections. Once Dazzler and her fellow X-ladies decide to go after him, they end up as prisoners of the Collector, another powerful villain who's only slightly less douchier. He puts the girls in a position where they have to get creative in how they survive. And yet, some of that creativity involves a little sex appeal. I won't spoil all the details, but trust me, you'll know the sexy parts when you see it. I'll also say it'll give you a new appreciation for the power of Dazzler's ass and Boo Boob's breasts. But while the danger these X-ladies face is very real, at no point does the story get too dark or serious. And at no point do any of these characters act or behave in a way that undermines that tone. They know what's at stake, but they're experienced X-Men. They've dealt with vampires. They've dealt with cosmic threats. They've even been captured in prison many times before. None of this is new territory for them, so they never treat it as something they can't handle. As for they go about handling it, well, I'll just say it's a lot different compared to how Cyclops, Wolverine, or Storm might go about it. And rightfully so. These young women might be experienced members of the X-Men, but they're also young women, some being less mature than others. And the way they interact with one another totally reflects that. They don't talk to each other like teammates who have been training together in the Danger Room for years. They mostly just talk to each other like young women, complete with dirty jokes, casual profanity, playful jabs, and crude remarks about one another. They're less a team of superheroes and just more a group of teenage girls hanging out, getting into trouble, and getting in way over their head. That really is the core dynamic between these characters, and that dynamic perfectly reflects the playful, unserious tone of X-Terminators. The entire world isn't at stake, and mutants aren't on the brink of extinction for once. It's just Dazzler and her girlfriends getting into trouble together and having to get out intact. The story does not attempt to be more ambitious beyond that, and the characters never deviate significantly from this quirky setup. And the end result is just pure, unfiltered fun, mixed in with vampire sex appeal and colorful costumes. It's a comic that goes out of its way to bring joy and fun to the X-Books, and given how mutants always seem to be on the brink of another extinction event, X-Terminators acts as the perfect counterbalance. Yes, you will have a few moments where you'll probably roll your eyes, but a smile will never leave your face. And you also get moments that remind you why Dazzler, Jubilee, Boom Boom, and Laura are such great characters to begin with. They don't have to progress or evolve in every story. They could just come together, target an asshole ex-boyfriend, and rough up the collector along the way. And if you can't get joy or entertainment out of that, then you're just being difficult. And while I encourage everyone to check out every comic gem I highlight, I definitely want to encourage X-Terminators more than most. It's one of those rare gems I can point to as a perfect example of just how much fun comics can be. If you only need one comic to prove their entertainment value, make it this one. As always, I'll leave a Comixology Amazon link in the description. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more of my comic book gems. Until next time, take care and stay safe.